Welcome. I'm Suzane Van Amberg, and this is Iaido. We work on Iaido body movement in this class, so you don't need a sword. But tonight, I wanted to show you some of the how some of the movements we've been practicing applies to some of the sword forms. So for now, I'm going to put this to the side. Let's start with feet under your hips. Find your hip joint where the thigh bone comes into your pelvis, and it's the place where you bend from. If you imagine you're going to sit down, bend in the hip joint, and feel your knees. Where is the knee relative to the frame of your foot? Foot, knee, hip, all in a nice line. Sink, and then stand up. Let's match it with your breathing. Inhale as you sink, and then exhale as you rise. I'm going to make a small adjustment. Sink, inhale, and then rise and exhale. It's like a slow motion jump. You sink down, gather energy, and then as if you're going to jump up into the air, you expand the hip joint, the knee, and expand through your spine as well. So inhale as you gather, and then exhale and expand. Inhale, exhale. This time, let's change the breathing pattern, but keep the body movement pretty much the same. So we'll exhale as you sink down and inhale as you come up. You might imagine this movement or this breathing pattern would work if you're sitting down, you exhale, and then you inhale as you stand up, as you get up. All right, bring your weight into the left and the right. Just shift your weight a little bit, left and right, and sense how the sole of your foot connects with the ground a little differently when you're using that foot to hold your weight. Sense the lightness, the light contact of the other foot to the ground, and then shift over. And just very consciously bring your weight into one side of your body, lightening up the other, making it ready to move. Sink into the left foot and sense the relationship between foot, knee, hip, shoulder, and even the left side of your head, your eye. What's the relationship between these parts? As you lighten up the right side and slide your foot a little bit, right and forward and back, and then find that position where your foot is underneath your hip and bring your weight into it. Can you sense when your foot is directly underneath your hip joint without actually looking down at it? You can look to check, but see if you can sense that relationship clearly. It's a little bit like preparing yourself to hop on one foot. This kind of relationship between hip and foot, and even the upper body, shoulder and head, have to be in a certain relationship to have that dynamic stability to hop. Bring your weight into the left foot and look for that same organization as if you're about to hop up and down. Come to neutral or center, where you're neither left or right, but you have equal weight through both feet. Sink in the knees a little bit and sense your center line. Weight even over both feet. Now this time, let's bring your weight into the left foot, slide the right foot, and slide your right foot back. Notice where it sticks, what's kind of the natural stopping point. Do you go back just a little bit and stop? Or do you go a little further back to stop? if you don't really think about it too much and you just do it, sort of a natural stopping point. And this next time, take the right book back and imagine that your intention is to bring your knee down. Whether you actually bring it down or not, that's all right. Slide back where would make sense to land that foot so that you could bring your knee down gently and easily to the ground. And if you go halfway and it feels like, yeah, I'm already in the right position to do so, then you could go ahead and bring your knee, just lightly touch the ground and come back up. And if you have any doubts about whether you can get back up without pain, then just go partway down and come back. And if it's easy, come down and see how gentle you can make that landing. So your knee just touches the ground and you are ready. There's a certain recruitment through the left leg. There's a certain connection to the ground through both feet to be able to come right back up easily. So I'm going to call this position neutral. I haven't stepped forward, I haven't stepped back, but the feet are directly underneath my hips. This time, let's step forward with that same foot. Step forward and just check it out. Is the left knee, is the left leg in a good position to be able to put the knee down? If it isn't, don't force it, just come back. Shift your weight a couple times and your nervous system already starts processing that information. This next time, bring your right forward and just hold the intention that you want to be able to put the left knee down. And almost like magic, your foot will land in a slightly different spot to be a little closer to the position you need to be in for the intention that you formed, right? Now, as you slide forward, how does the foot travel? Does it kind of go out and around? Does it come in close to the other foot and then come forward? Does it stay in the line with your hip? Almost like if you were standing on skis or standing on rails, parallel lines, does the foot slide forward just in that line? It's not that one way is right or wrong, but how aware are you? And to what extent do you have easy kind of control over where you put that foot and maintaining this space? Sometimes this is called the channel between the feet. Imagine you want to maintain a consistent channel, a consistent distance between those 2 feet. So even as you come forward, the distance is the same. The channel is maintained. Now this time, slide the foot all the way back and see if you maintain that channel. Can you sense, even when the foot's behind you, you can't see it clearly, but can you sense the relationship between foot, knee, hip, and the distance with the front foot? Slide up through neutral and continue forward. Slide back through neutral and all the way to the back position. Let's look at it this way. So if I call this neutral, I'm going to slide forward and then come back, slide through all the way to the back. Sliding my foot the whole time, that helps with kind of the balance or dynamic stability rather than picking it up and putting it down, right? You slide, you keep contact, a light contact between the foot and the floor. It slides and then at some point it sticks. And that precipitates a certain movement, a certain ability to grab or make use of the ground forces coming up and through to maybe press yourself forward or whatever it is that you're going to do. All right, let's look at all of this with the other foot. Just to kind of run through these positions. Weight into the right leg in order to facilitate stepping back with the left foot. Come up back into neutral. Catch your breath. This time, bring your weight into the right leg fresh and slide forward with the left foot. This time, come back through the neutral position all the way to the back. How stable and balanced are you through this movement? Every step of the way, sense that you're your right leg is holding you, supporting you well, not wobbly. All right, let's add arm position. Bring your hands to your center line right in front of you, place where the palms of the hands come together, fingers slightly up. Let's look at it this direction. I'm bringing my hands to my center line, fingers slightly up, and then raise to the top of the head. So the base of the thumb area sits right at the crown of my head. Elbows are oriented forward, so not way out to the side like this, but oriented forward. And then swing the arms down. Sense the easy movement in your shoulder. There's like a circular movement. And just imagine the circularity of the top of your arm bone, your humerus here, as it comes into the shoulder. There's a round kind of shape. And just imagine that round shape as you move your hands up and down in this arc. And you're tracing the center line of your body. If you're familiar with the term sagittal plane, you're kind of marking or tracing the sagittal plane. All right, so now let's take one hand, just the right hand, come up and down, and then just the left hand could come up and down. Right, left. Now let's match it with our previous motion. So as I take a step back, my right leg's gonna step back, I'm gonna raise and cut. Come back to neutral and raise, step forward and cut. When you come to the neutral position, your hand is at its highest point, the foot is next to the other foot, and then step back and cut. Forward and cut. Back and cut. This next time, change hands in the middle and step forward and cut. Step back and cut. So I'm using the right leg is moving and the left hand is moving. Right, left. Step back and cut. Step forward and cut. Now let's change feet, but keep the same head. Left foot steps forward and cut. Step back and cut. Forward and cut. Back and cut. Now change hands, but keep the same foot. Right hand, left leg, forward and cut. Back and cut. Forward and cut. Back and cut. Back to neutral. All right, this time let's review this motion in the transverse plane, kind of the tabletop plane. My right hand's gonna start right at my center line, and as I step forward with the right foot, swing out, and just finish with your hand about next to you. Not too far out, not too far in, but just here, that position. So the blade edge of the hand starts oriented forward, and then it's a slightly circular motion so that your fingers are oriented forward. Let's look at it this direction. I'm going to start with my right hand in front of me, the blade of the hand oriented forward, step forward, and make that arc. Let's come back and try it out on the left side. So the left hand comes to center, the left hand blade oriented forward, step out with the left foot. What about stepping back? Suppose the right leg goes back and we'll draw with the left hand. This time, step back with the left leg, still drawing with the left hand. So we're doing different permutations, combinations of left and right. How about the right hand and the left leg goes back? Right hand, the left leg will go forward. Right hand, right leg. All right, now let's do a combination. combination movement. So we're going to take the right hand, right leg and come forward. Then we're going to step back and the hand comes to the top of the head to cut along the sagittal plane here. All right. So again, from the beginning, neutral position, right hand, right leg will mobilize, forward, transition, step back and cut. All right, let's just try it on the other side to sense that in your body. If you're a true Japanese swordsman, you probably wouldn't be using the left hand, but as a symmetrical exercise and clarifying the movement that you do on one side, let's go ahead and mobilize the left hand with the left leg, and then step back and cut. Start at neutral. Left hand, left leg moves forward. Transition, cut. All right. So let's take a minute, just take a few seconds to kind of go over those combinations in whatever order you want. Just be deliberate in your set an intention. Okay, I'm going to use my right hand, right foot, and then step back. And now this next time, I'm going to use left hand, left foot. Step back. Okay, I'm going to try something crazy about right hand and left foot. And now I'm going to change over and mobilize my left hand and my right leg. All right, so now let's review this diagonal cut that we worked on. Your hands come to your left shoulder and kind of draw this diagonal line toward your right hip. Let's match this movement with the left leg going forward. So it'll look like this. Come up to the left shoulder, step out, and cut through. Just come back to neutral. So you start with your hands at your shoulder, step forward and cut. So I'm really using the momentum or that weight shift and matching it to the cutting motion of the arms. In this exercise, I start here, slide forward and cut. Let's do the other side. I'm going to start with my hands on the right side and mobilize the right foot and cut shoulder to hip, kind of tracing from my own shoulder to my own opposite hip, a diagonal cut. Now you may notice that what you do with your eyes makes a big difference. If my eyes follow my own hands, I might lose my balance a little bit right here. So can you keep a kind of easy movement through the neck and shoulders so that your eyes can remain ahead and you're going to finish almost looking over this shoulder as you cut through. Keeping your vision eye level, out ahead, not looking down anywhere. Well, notice, even if I start to look down, it changes the whole body, huh? The head changes, but something else happens in the spine, arms, hips. That can happen to a large degree or even to a little degree. If it happens to a large degree, you might actually lose your balance enough that you have to take a step. But it can happen in a little way, and it creates this excess exertion of energy through your body. Working on your balance a little too much, but your eyes can really help with your dynamic stability, where you put your eyes. All right, I'm going to do one more, the right shoulder and the right leg. Okay. So let's put these together now into a little sequence. We're going to do let's walk through this. The right foot and right hand will mobilize. We'll come forward for that drawing motion. Step back for the up and down motion. And then from here, just bring your hands to your shoulder and shift your weight forward. And we'll finish from there. All right, right hand, right leg, draw, that's 1. Raise and cut, that's 2. From the shoulder, that's 3. All right, let's do the whole pattern on the other side. Left foot and left hand move, forward, step back and cut, and then from the right shoulder, cut at a diagonal. So we're just kind of conditioning left and right side, getting used to these angles in the body. Left hand, left foot comes out, forward. Step back, cut. From the right shoulder, diagonal cut. And as you do this diagonal cut, sure, the arms just kind of freely move. Where do you feel movement in your spine? There's movement in the thoracic area, but you shouldn't be a whole lot of movement in the neck. You're going to keep your eyes straight ahead. There's movement at C7, if you're aware of the names of the bones. So C7 through the thoracic area, there's going to be movement there. But you don't want a lot of movement in the lower spine area or in your neck. All right? So it's a great exercise to kind of refine this mobility in the thoracic spine. Left hand, left foot. Draw forward, step back and cut, and from the right shoulder, diagonal cut. This time from right hand, right foot. Come out and draw, step back and cut, and hands at the left shoulder, diagonal cut. Kesa. Okay, so there's another movement that's called Gyaku kesa, Gyaku meaning opposite. It's an opposite diagonal angle from the hip to the shoulder. So kesa, so far we've gone shoulder to hip. This movement is going to go hip to shoulder. Now, as you do this motion, it's really common for people to get a kind of a crimp in their neck and use their arm muscles too much. So keep your arm really relaxed, like it's a big heavy rope or a heavy garden hose. You're tossing it out. Use your whole body to toss it out, and you'll feel your back hip involved, right? Let's just make it an easy motion with your right foot forward, kind of find the looseness in your right arm, and set it just in front of the center of you here. But find the movement in the back left hip to send the arm out. Kind of like you're tossing a rope. Try it on the other side. Your shoulder stays relaxed and kind of heavy. There's a little rotation in the elbow to bring the hand blade to the front. Just set your left foot forward to get ready and feel how you can shift your weight and turn your hips a little bit. And you're going to shift your weight forward and match that with the motion of kind of tossing your hand out. Toss it out at this diagonal line from hip to shoulder. Relaxed. So the shift of weight in the lower body movement is sending the arm out. It's not a movement of recruiting from your shoulder or upper back, right? There should remain an easy, open kind of space between your ear and your shoulder. So now let's go back to the right side and we'll do a little sequence. The right foot, right leg comes out in this Gyaku kesa motion. Now we're going to step back. The hand will go to the top of the head. Keep the elbow relaxed and heavy as you transition and cut straight down. Then from here, you can do the diagonal cut. Kesa and Gyaku kesa in the same little sequence. Right foot, right hand comes forward on your Gyaku kesa. Now transition to your up and down Shomanuchi motion in line with your spine. And then from there, just look for the shoulder. Shift your weight into that front leg. Let's try it on the other side. Start relaxed and heavy in the shoulder. Just move from the elbow to bring the hand blade to the front. We're going to mobilize left hand, left foot to go forward. and then step back to cut straight up and down. And then from here, find the right shoulder and cut diagonal. All right. So you have a little repertoire now. We have cutting in this direction, this direction, this direction, this direction. This first one is like a drawing motion. The second one is like a cutting motion. The hip to shoulder diagonal, I could be cutting upward, or I could be cutting down at an angle. So we're gonna finish, but I just kind of wanted to show you in the context here of the sword. We turn the blade, bring it out, and we can bring it to the top of the head and cut, and from the shoulder, cut shoulder to hip. In another sequence, you could turn the blade over. So I'm cutting hip to shoulder, cutting upward, then from the top of the head, cut straight down, and then again from the shoulder, diagonal cut. All right, so we're focusing on body movement, left and right, finding your center in terms of not only left and right, but front and back, up and down. And all of this feeds into and nurtures the Iaido forms that we do with the sword in hand. So let's finish. Thank you very much.